Forgot to hit, we are live. I forgot to hit go live. I am so excited about this brunch today. It's our second one. When you hit the sweet spot on something, it's just like, oh, I can't wait until we do it again. So welcome to Brunch with Margo, Levette, and friends. I have two ladies, three people were invited. One person, I don't know. Something happened. We haven't heard from them, but that's okay because you know what? When friends get together and something happens and one person, two people, three people aren't able to make it, guess what? We still have good conversation. We still eat, drink, and we are merry. So before I bring on the ladies today, I'm Margo Levette. And I have a couple announcements for you. You know, as a podcaster, as a instructor of podcasting, and one who understands that podcasting is media, every once in a while you get an opportunity to really just get larger than life with opportunities for your people, folks that you know, for your audience, your family members, hey, your friends. So what had happened was, I was given the opportunity to be a featured podcaster at Patapalooza. Now, Patapalooza is a brand new concept put on by two ladies who are podcasters, and one has a podcast network. So, me being one of the featured podcasters, as people come and attend this 8-hour event, these folks coming in as VIPs, they are given interviews by myself and, oh my goodness, I think there's probably 30 other featured podcasters. And when you come in as a VIP, automatically you are guaranteed interviews, not interview, interviews. So it's really a good deal if you want to amp up or modernize your media package. You just want some more exposure. Patapalooza is also an excellent way for you to meet other podcasters. And there are speakers there. There are people who are telling you about podcasting, who are helping you with your speaking career. So you can register from $1 up until I think it's $110 for VIP. Don't quote me on that. Let me see where I have it in the comments here somewhere. Yeah. In the comments, I have information about, let me bring that on up. If you want to attend Patapalooza, there are 100 people that are already signed up to come as VIPs. People want to get this exposure, and I'm really happy. I'm not mad at them. If I was not a featured podcaster, hey, guess what? I'd be over there. Sign me up for VIP. Dr. Frazier, George Frazier always said, if you're going to do something, go VIP. And I never forgot that. So Patapalooza, it's taking place March the 5th, coming up. But there's still time for you to come VIP, and they will make sure that you are given opportunities during that event to be interviewed. So I think that that's very exciting. The other piece of news that I have for you is that March the 26th, starting up another 7-week course at podcastacademyonline.com. And I only have space for 3 more people. So come on in. It's a group session, but you're coming in listening for your own podcast. You are imagining, you are building, and you are launching your podcast in a group setting. So we're doing this thing March the 26th. I only have room for 3 more people. It's 7 weeks. And where's the comment on that? Let me show it to you. And podcastacademyonline.com. That's where you'll get information, and you can go ahead and register and take it from there. If you want a pre-class chat with me, because I know it's a big deal, and sometimes people are kicking the tires, and you've been kicking the tires for so long until you don't know how to put your foot back on the ground and say, sign me up, I'm doing this. I get it, I understand. But come on, let's have that conversation. I want to see you in class. So those are my announcements. And today it is Brunch with Margo, Levette, and friends. I have with me the information diva. Well, first of all, let me bring these folks in. Let me see. Hang on. Let me bring them on in. Oh my goodness, the information diva and LaLisa Morgan. Here we
Yay!
are. Oh,
Hey, we're here.
wow.
Yay.
The information diva, Deborah Thorne. She was here with us last month, and wow, what a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And we are joined with LaLisa Morgan, who is a
Good
gifted, brilliant
afternoon.
therapist. Yes, and you know, I put you ladies together, and like I say, I had one other person in mind, but something came up. So we are going to go ahead and answer these questions as entrepreneurs, as podcasters, so that we can close out as the world wants to close out Black History Month. We're just going to go ahead and expound upon a few things, okay? All
Yes.
right. Where do we start? I want to
Girl,
start.
well, don't pass up. We just made history, okay? Part of Black history, women's history. Do not forget our sister
Oh,
who just got
yes.
nominated to the
Yes.
Supreme Court, okay? So,
Yes.
yes,
Big ups. Thank you, Deb. You
Yes.
are right. Going into March, isn't that something? Boy, Joe Biden,
Amazing.
he kept his promise. He kept his promise. That is, I expect that woman to be thoroughly, they'll pass her through and more history
Vetted
will be
and
made.
appointed.
Yes,
yes.
anointed and appointed. And I'm looking at somebody sent me a message over here. Um, we are on the move. That's all the more reason why I say we have to have our say. We have to have platforms like this where we get together. And I don't want someone to say, well, she had all blacks and all women on last month. But let's get the elephant out of the room. Brunch with Margo, Levette, and Friends is for men and women. And the person who was not able to make it today was a gentleman. So, and I want this to be a global presentation. But just my people this month because we
It's
are
Black history.
representing Black History Month. So I want to dive right in as we give kudos to the next anointed and appointed woman to the Supreme Court. I want to look at Black people as a whole and us as entrepreneurs. I'm 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 very unsettled when I see people just leaning into corporate America. And this is just my view. As you say, Deb, everybody has their view. But I am very alarmed that we put all of our eggs in one basket. And I don't feel safe with that as a people. And I think that we are robbing the world when we give one
Mhm.
company or one thought uh, all of our energy. What do you ladies say about that? What do you all think?
Well, my thought is that this has been the progression. Remember, because now we start to tell our age. When I went to school, when I got ready to go to college, all my parents knew was that I needed to go to college. They had no idea about what I should study.
Yeah.
And when I went to college a few years ago, they were either teachers, nurses, or social workers. So I trained to be a social worker because it's one of those three. And again, my parents didn't know. When I got a job working for the state of California, they were so excited because that was that good state job. I tell the story of having three opportunities that the response was, "You gonna quit that good state job?" One was, and this is probably the most important, the day that Tom Bradley was
Oh,
elected the first and only Black mayor of Los Angeles, I got a call from his office asking me did I want to come work for them. They were willing to hire me, okay? And I go home and I was married at the time, I speak to my husband, and he says, "You gonna quit that good state job?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, he don't know. Let me talk to my mama." My mother said the very same thing because that's what they knew. Okay,
Yeah.
so fast forward now,
mhm.
if people want to laugh at something, on BuzzFeed, they have a story right now about the poor um, recommendations that baby boomers have given to millennials. Okay, you need to take a look at it because we're teaching them what was appropriate at our time. Go to college, at student debt, and
Yeah.
it's just not the right answers now. And so I
Yeah.
think that putting our back, we for so long couldn't get a good job in corporate America. So people are faced with that, not thinking that we have our brilliance, okay, that we need to be teaching our young people trade because
Hmm.
tradespeople make more money than many of us.
They
Okay,
do.
that was one of my jobs too. They
Mhm.
wanted me to become a, oh gosh, what was it? Some sort of tradesperson. Man came in. I was working for the state. He came in and he said, "We have to hire women. We know women can't do the job." And at the time, they were making like $25 an hour, and we're talking like 40 years ago, right?
Mhm.
And I went home. He said, the only thing I had to do was get rid of my nails because I was wearing acrylic. I said, but yeah, with that kind of money, I could take my nails off every week and put them back on. And I went home, and my husband had a new thing this time. It wasn't just the state job, the good state job. It was you gonna work around all those men. So we got all these things that we got to figure out as we talk to our young people about what opportunities are really available. And here goes a plug. We do the leverage conference, and I define leverage as networking plus collaboration equals opportunity, and
Hmm.
that's leverage. So I want everybody to leverage wherever they are. Now I'm gonna be quiet. Your turn, LaLisa.
Well, I mean, in regards to being taught, like I'm slightly younger, but not that much younger. But I was told just go to college. I was told
Yeah.
since elementary school that's what you do as a Black American, and you have more opportunities. Well,
Hmm.
education alone does not create opportunity. One, if you're not, first of all, if you haven't developed a sound mind with good mental health, the
Say
trauma
that.
of being an inner city impoverished person carries with you into the work world. So you don't do your best work if you haven't addressed your own mental health.
Yeah.
And so then you're taught just get a good job where that is not going to create wealth, right? A good job alone does not create wealth. You must diversify your portfolio. You must not only have a good job, but you must have a good business as well. So while I have my county good job, I also have my business as a therapist and a speaker and a writer so that I can create wealth because I want the long term benefit of having to leave a legacy because that's what people have not done in the generations before me. Leave a legacy so that your children and your children's children have a small nest egg or something to give them a foundation. As a parent, guardian, father, we are to create a foundation for our future generations. If you don't have children, you give a gift to someone and plant a seed of mentorship in someone to how to work in this world. And so, working alone is not enough. You must
Hmm.
have your own business. You must decide for yourself through the process of de- developing sound mental health so you can figure out what are your true gifts.
Yeah.
What are you
And you're
really
not
called
afraid
to
to
do,
you're not
right?
afraid to do that because
And you're
so
not
many of
afraid
us
to walk in it.
we're kicking the
Because
tires. We're just doing we're here, we're there, we're chasing the dollar. Oh, this is making money for so and so this month. And then it doesn't work for us. Next thing you know, they're over there selling Avon. And God knows I'm not kicking Avon. One of my best friends sells Avon and it's wonderful. But I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. Get that mental, uh, be sound
acuity.
mentally,
Hmm.
acuity, so that you can find out where your strength is and stick with it. Because I'm gonna tell you, ladies, I have found that we have too much skipping around chasing that mighty dollar, which we all need, but we need to have a stronger footprint so that
Yes.
people know what we are all about. What do you all say about that?
Without a foundation, you have nothing. You cannot build a house on rubble. You have to build your house with sound mental document and as well as your spiritual foundations. Without it, what else do you have? And
Yeah.
how can you go to work and enjoy? Because work is not to just work, work is to be enjoyed. I absolutely love what I do professionally and on my business. I absolutely love it. I would do it for free if I had endless money. You need to find your calling in doing what you would do for free. That's the work that you're called to do.
Well, as Black people, aren't we all the more? We should make sure that we are setting ourselves up so that we do have that, as Tim Simpson says, that side hustle, that gig, because those used to be kind of like a hustle. They didn't really weigh that much. But now, since COVID, since we've seen the shift in the work environment,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think those are bad words anymore. I think they're
Yep.
words that
Yep.
everybody better try to make sure that they know and are implementing. What do you say about that, ladies? What do y'all
Well,
think?
okay, hustle is a word I try not to use and encourage clients not to use it because that implies that it's work, it's hard, it's a struggle. If
Mm-hmm.
you're doing what you're called to do and you have the capacity to do it, it's not a struggle. It's what we
It's not.
do.
It's not.
And I can remember when my son was growing up, I used to say, and Lord knows I didn't understand the wisdom in it, but I would tell him, it's a poor man who depends on a 9 to 5 to feed his family.
Yep.
How true is that? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
corporations come, they go, they move things overseas, they do whatever. So if
Mhm.
that happens, how are you going to feed your family? If a
Yep.
pandemic happens, how are you going to feed your family? You know, we used to have this joke too. I can feed my family off of $10 a week.
Hey.
And my son used to laugh at me when I'd say that. He said, I laughed at you until we had a need and I saw you do it. Hello? We
Yeah.
have forgotten. I think that my biggest issue with our people is that we have worked hard to assimilate into a culture that is
They
not
don't.
ours.
They
Ooh,
don't have.
say
Okay,
that.
and it
Say
Say
that.
doesn't
that
fit.
again. Say that again.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you have tried
Culture.
to assimilate and be somebody that you're not. Okay, because we are a people. See, many of us, my level of age, because we'll start talking about ages. My mother was a registered nurse, but she worked on her off days cleaning houses.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Hmm.
Because that was the side hustle she could get. And in those
Yep.
days, we didn't believe any job was beneath you. Yeah, she used to tell us, as long as it's honest, it's good. Now, if it's not honest, everybody gonna know because you're gonna get arrested.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
as
Exactly.
long as it's honest and it brings you money, and you know and understand that that's how you're gonna feed your family. But see, we got away from that because we can belong to the country club and we can
Yeah.
buy fancy cars and we can live wherever. But notice that we're renting, we don't
Not
own.
only this is the
Okay,
lowest.
leasing the car we don't own. Okay, we got all these fancy clothes, and if I see another grown man with tennis shoes and a suit on, I'm
I
gonna
know.
spit on him. Okay, 'cause I'm tired of that. Come
I
on,
know.
my
Yeah.
daddy wore Stacey Adams every day because back in those days, men didn't wear tennis shoes unless you were playing tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's me.
I
Yeah.
know.
And you're
I
not wrong. You're not wrong, Deb. You're really not
mm-mm.
wrong. I
No.
mean, we have acculturated so much under quote unquote white America. We've forgotten our identity.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to the job, you still get racial disparity and mistreatment. So putting your eggs in one basket at one job, you never know when they go to do layoffs, who they gonna pick.
Yeah.
See, I would have up to 3 jobs at any given time because I
Mm-hmm.
did not want to put my eggs in one job basket. When I went to the county to work, I still kept my second job. And people thought I was crazy because I'm working 2 jobs, but I didn't want to depend on neither one of them to make sure my kids ate.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did doing that become taboo? I think you touched on it, Deb, when we went to the
Yeah,
country
it's
clubs and we were driving up and we were moving on up. All of a sudden, we didn't have to do these extra things. Or if
Okay,
somebody found out we did, we're so ashamed until we didn't do it. When did it become shameful? Now,
when we said that 50 was the new 30, that's where, for me, again, my own opinion of where it messed up. See,
yeah.
a
Hmm.
50-year
Right.
old woman has more things to do, say, and be than a 30-year-old woman. Okay, I
Correct.
am
mm-hmm.
so pleased to say I'm 70 years old. This is not the new 50 or 60. there are responsibilities that I have. Now
And
we're all
maturity.
of the age where you remember that woman who did nothing but sit on the porch and tell your mama what you did wrong when she got home. Okay?
Hmm.
That was her
Hmm.
whole job. Because I can remember saying, why don't she mind her own business? That was her business.
That
Okay?
was her job.
Her job was to sit and keep the community safe the way that she kept it safe. And see, I laugh too because your mama could find out what you did wrong before she got home, and we
That
didn't have cell
that part.
phones. Okay, oh no, I didn't beat that drum. Okay, but when I'm busy trying to, as my former pastor used to say, toe pop with my relatives, when I'm trying to run a party with my son or my nephew, then I can't take that space
Yeah.
of being the elder. The elders have kind of fallen down on the job because
Yes.
we're the first
Yes.
generation that was able to go to the country club.
Yes.
And we are the first generation that the kids behind us are doing worse than we're doing. That
Hmm.
is a shame before God, okay? And it's
Yes.
little things like when you watch, the at the Super Bowl, they sang the Negro National Anthem, okay?
They
Really
don't even know
proud
the
of that.
words to it.
Oh,
Okay? But
They
that
don't
that's
is
even
the
know the words
embarrassing.
words,
to it, and it's
okay?
embarrassing. It's
Yeah.
It's worse
embarrassing.
than. And I can remember as a Sunday school superintendent of our little small church, every February we sang that song all three verses because
Yeah.
I wanted the young people to know the words to the song and to know the meaning. So now when they stand up, they can sing it, but are they teaching their children the words?
Yeah.
See, we
Yeah.
all too busy being, as Pastor Yule, bless his heart, rest him in glory, toe popping,
Yeah.
trying to be young, trying to be. No, I'm 70 years old. That's what it is.
Plus,
Hmm.
I think that life has just sped up and people are doing all that they can do to hang on and keep going. That's just my
It's
thought.
a survival mentality, and it's
Yes.
linked to generational trauma. Our grandparents and great grandparents who were, were slaves, they parented through trauma. No one got a
Mhm.
therapist, no one got help. It's in their DNA. Their children and their grandchildren parented in inner city communities through trauma, the Jim Crow laws, trauma, trauma, trauma. No one got help. Fathers yelling at at mothers. The spoken father, because he was told, because we can get benefits, act like he
If you
don't
need.
exist.
Oh,
We've
girl, say
robbed
that.
fathers of their identity and their role in families. Mothers have tried to do both roles, and we're not designed to do both roles. We are designed to be mothers and give a nurturing position and let the fathers be the authority. Now these kids are unruly, no authority, so they go into the workforce, and we want to know why they're getting fired. Why they got a
And that's what I
job?
tell
Job,
people
job.
because nobody has ever told them no. When they were talking at the school that the kids shouldn't wear uniforms and all that, I said, hell, hello. What job can you go on where you get to wear what you want to wear, say what you want to
Got
say, and
that
only
right.
work when you feel like it?
And you
So you're
can't.
not even setting kids up to prosper. And that's,
Mhm.
when mothers would come in, well, my child don't need to wear a uniform. Yes, your child does. They
Yes, she
need, when
does.
they put on these set of clothes, there's a certain way we behave. Because remember, we only had three kinds of clothes. We had
Play
school clothes,
clothes, school
Sunday school
clothes,
clothes, and
and
church
church
Sunday.
clothes.
clothes.
That's it. That's it. And
And
if
some of
you
us didn't go
wanted
to
to have
church.
trauma,
Uh-huh.
mix them up. Okay? If
Uh-huh.
you wanted to see trauma, mix up them three kinds of clothes. That's all we
Yes.
had. And
Yeah.
yet, once again, assimilated and progress, we call it progress, but is it really? Because what's happening to our children, what's happening to the next generation, and nobody wants to assume responsibility. Well, what? It belongs in the laps of us baby boomers. We
Yeah.
own that, and we don't want to, but we own it. We
We
do.
And
own
what
it.
and one of the reasons I became a therapist is that I saw that we weren't addressing our trauma. First of all, I had to look in the mirror at my own trauma
Mhm.
and work on me. And while it's not perfect, no therapist will tell you they're healed of everything, right? But it's all a journey, right? And we're in this
Yeah.
journey together. So what I've learned, I have shared with the clients that I serve. And so that they can give that knowledge hopefully to the next generation, right?
Mhm.
And if you don't address your stuff, you can't be a good businessman or woman. If you don't
Okay.
do your stuff, you think having a business gonna solve your problem? You can have a lucrative business and money flow address that
Uh-oh.
trauma. You'll impulsively spend all your money on trying to have the next big bling bling and the big
Yeah.
chain and lease the car
We
and
see that
lease the
now.
house,
Hmm.
not owning,
Hmm.
but leasing everything and spending it and pouring water down the toilet.
I have another. You bring something to mind as far as I think you spoke of legacy. Our parents were they thought they were futuristic. They would think in the future, leaving something for us kids, making sure that their life insurance was intact so that nobody had to bury them, nobody was out on the street begging for money.
Fundraising
They
for
took
funerals.
Yeah, they took care of the future.
Yes,
Do
they
you
did.
think that in all of this change as us baby boomers, I mean, we made more money than our parents did, most of
And
us.
I found
We,
more baby boomers don't have life insurance.
but
I have
let
the
well, hang on,
Generation
hang on,
X
hang on.
don't have
Let
it.
me get this thought out. I'm wondering, in all of this bounty that we had and have and will have, do we just kind of did we get selfish as baby boomers and just stay in that me, I'm getting mine, oh, I got a leg up, I'm a black American and I'm doing this in the United States right now? Did we get selfish even though we are parents and grandparents and just let the basics go? Could that be the bottom of our problem?
I think that it's not so much that we're selfish, it's just that we didn't think it through. Okay.
Mhm.
So I love to tell this story. My grandfather died when my mother was 5 years old. So I'll keep track of the numbers. And my mother died 3 years ago at the age of 93, 17 days shy of 94. My grandfather had a third grade education, was a sharecropper in the South. He made an investment that my mother continued to get paid on until the day she died, and it's now going to my brother, my sister, and myself. It's not a lot of money, but that man thought ahead of time about what was going to happen to his family.
Mhm.
And so, I went back doing the numbers. Means he died in 1929.
Wow.
Okay. And yet here we are, 2022, and
Wow.
his
Absolutely wow.
granddaughter is getting money from him.
Wow.
Okay. That
Amazing.
Yeah, and we have to understand that those people did it the way they did it. When my mother passed, her funeral down to the flowers had been picked out and
Mm-hmm.
paid for.
Mine
Okay,
too.
and then the other folks still tried to jack us at the end because you got to pay attention. But it's that kind of thing. So anybody who knows the information, Diva, at this point, I'm working for two things and two things only. I work for luxury and legacy. Luxury for me, I'm an easy person. I just need to be able to travel, drive a nice car, and wear nice clothes. I'm good.
I heard
But
that.
the legacy is to leave for my grandson who has autism. I want to be sure that he never has to worry about the roof over his head. That he
Amen.
never has to worry about the food, whether or not there's food in the refrigerator.
Refrigerator. Mhm.
That he never has to worry about what fool is in the White House.
Mm,
Okay, because you've proven to me that you will not rein that foolishness in. So I
that's
don't
right.
want him to have to live worrying about is there a real fool in the White House and he doesn't have a way to live. His grandmother's going to take care of that, just like my grandfather took care of me.
I
Like
heard
I
that.
said, not a lot of money, but if you think in terms of a sharecropper with a third grade education living in the South,
That's a
come on,
huge.
all of us can do better.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
of us can do better.
Yes.
We have
And see
somebody
the
here, Sherry Burrell. Let me bring on what she has to say. Sherry says, our parents did take care of business. My mother passed away 40 years ago, and my father 20 years ago. When we went back to bury him, my mother had paid for both funerals and gave sites over, wow,
50
50
years.
years
Wow.
prior. That's
Wow.
taking care. Thank you, Sherry.
Oh,
That's taking
awesome.
care of business.
And see,
That and
that's the
that
legacy. That's the
Yes.
Yeah.
why should my children have to worry about burying me
Uh-huh. But
or
we see
taking
it
care of me?
all the time. And
Go,
COVID, Every time you looked around, somebody was on the corner. I don't know if it was scamming or not, but somebody was watching. And as I say, they were chitlin strutting every day trying to drum up some money. And that should
Okay.
not be. So,
When my mother died, the paperwork was dated 1979 that she had paid for her burial. Okay, she died in 2018. Okay, we have to, yes, we're supposed to enjoy our lives because part of what happened with baby boomers and beyond is, our mothers made us go to church. I ain't gonna make my kids go to church. Okay, you didn't, but now they don't have a foundation to go on. That's your choice. Okay, but know that all this stuff is circling back. I'm gonna
yeah.
be young as long as I can. You be young. My son and I were having that conversation today. I feel very vibrant. My ideas are great, but my body say, "Oh yeah, okay, you're 71 years old. You ain't gonna be jumping up, going doing anything." If we take, what I'm so concerned about is that the village is supposed to take care of us,
Yes.
and we, the elders of the village, are not holding our proper place. That is my concern.
And
And
we
so I
haven't
don't
done
let
it
my
now.
friends off the hook. Yeah,
Mm.
we're the ones who messed it up, and we're the ones who are required to fix it.
I don't know that we can. I don't know. When I look at
All
history,
you can do is start with the tribe around you.
yeah.
You can't fix the whole community, right? But you can start with the tribe around you. I'm doing a notary party today. Basically, having the relatives who say you're in charge of my next steps is getting the advanced care directive signed and notarized, and the power of attorney if you become incompetent done today.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I need to know that my parents, I can make decisions if they become
You know it.
incompetent or
Yep.
they have a medical emergency with COVID impacting the world. You don't know who is going to end up in the ICU,
That's right.
unconscious and in a coma. You need to have your papers in order. So I'm doing a notary party. And
Mm-hmm.
I told the notary to get here and we getting these forms done. Now I invited so many relatives, but I already know who's showing up, and it ain't that
Mm-hmm.
many, which
Mm-hmm.
is a reflection of their priorities.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reflection of her priority and a reflection of the things taught by my mom and that generation who's a baby boomer. So
Gotcha.
I'm trying to correct it. I'm planting the seed. I give the information not only to my house but to the people in my circle. You know, Jesus had the 12 disciples in the outer circle, right? He taught everybody. It was up to the individual to walk in that knowledge and understanding and apply it.
Apply
So
it.
all
That's it.
we can't make them apply it, but we can share it.
And
Deb
that's
We
is
where
can
I,
share
definitely
and hold them accountable.
accountable.
But see,
yeah.
here's the other side. If you don't take that step and something happens, don't think I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and go run after that.
That
That
part.
But
part.
see,
That
I
part.
already took
Yeah.
care of it.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
part.
And
Yeah.
I really like that idea, LaLisa. We're gonna have to flesh that out because I would like us ladies, and I like to put stuff out there we can do. We're gonna set aside a specific day, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll tell people about it in advance. We'll get all the notaries together that we know and say, hey, such and such a day is get your family stuff in line day.
Yep.
Okay. And once again, we can teach the entire community. We can teach the people around us. But you're right. We've got to change the way we're
Yeah.
doing it. These kids are going to implode.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we will have nothing, you know,
Well, speaking of
Airbnb
And
has
they're not
implosion,
taught them they
planning
don't
for
have to buy a
retirement.
house.
They're
no,
not
no
planning for
retirement.
retirement. I mean, I
Mm-mm.
already know. I'm retiring from my business of working for the county in 2035. Now, my other business, like Deb, I'm gonna work till Jesus say stop. But my business of working for formal employment is gonna stop in 2035. So I know I just got so many years.
Mm-hmm.
I got a plan for it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if it costs, I went and priced a one bedroom the other day, 2,100 in the city of West Covina. You can. I know so many young people can't afford that.
No. No way.
They're not, and they living at home till they're 30, which is a disservice to
To
your as a
everybody.
parent,
Yeah.
unless there's a need there that you know that you got. But it's a disservice. They should be on their own,
And not paying anything worth anything. They're
and
just kind of
they don't contribute at all to the household.
yeah.
They shopping, buying the latest and the greatest,
Mm.
And you have not empowered your child to be a successful adult when you don't charge them something for rent,
But
something on
what
the
they say is,
utility.
my daddy put me out at 18. I'm not going to do that
There
to
we
my
go.
child. There was a reason they put you out at
And that
18.
and it's a
Yeah.
reason because you need to learn to fly while my eyes are still open. Because once my eyes close, what you gonna do?
Or you did
Okay.
not respect what I built and what I accumulated my home, so you got to go. You know, it was
Exactly.
just that
One or
simple.
the
That
other applied, but you gotta go.
yeah. And my dad had this thing of, okay, you fool around and get arrested, go to jail. Guess who you should not call, who you cannot call. He was, hey, we knew. My brother and my sister, we knew. Woo, you
And
better call
Okay. And
somebody
my
else.
thing was, I understand that you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, living in Los Angeles with a black male. But then I told him, I said, let me rewrite that. I have taught you how not to be in the wrong place at the
Well,
wrong time. So now, if
that
you go
part.
to jail, do not call me. There is nothing I can do about it. And while
okay.
we're on, I want to be a little bit transparent. So I dated a guy who was just, come on, sociopath, girl. You could document stuff
In
on
and
him.
out of
He's so
jail.
crazy, girl. But I was wherever I was at that time
Young.
and was dealing with it. He did get picked up by the police, and he called me,
Mm.
and I went down to see what I could do. Well, first of all, he had my car, so I had to go and get my keys. The hell with all the rest of it. And my son said to me, "You said you would never come get me out of jail. You're going to get him out." And I
Wow.
said, "You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm going to get my keys." We have to be honest with our children and honest with
Yeah.
ourselves.
And about
Mm.
Okay.
our legacy lessons because we
We
didn't do
do.
it all perfect.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no. But you have to know what it is that you're about. We have to know, and I think you said earlier, we can start where we are today. Today, if you look around and family isn't happening the way it should, the village that you're, because keep in mind, if you're like 50 or whatever, you're the elders in the village. Come on. And if
That's
the
it.
village
That's
is
real.
jacked up,
That's
it's
real.
your
That's
responsibility
it.
to fix the village.
You know what, ladies? We can talk about this, and I love I love the conversation, but I'm looking at the time, and I really want us to talk about the mental health of Black America.
Ah,
There's so much going on, and there's so much pain. I know of two people who their sons have committed suicide, and one is a grandmother, one is a dad, and it seemed out of the blue that this happened, and we see people on, it seems like they're at the top of their game, on their square, as they say, and we look up and they're gone.
mhm.
So, LaLisa, I know that you deal with this. This is your wheelhouse. I really would. We have a little bit of time. I really would like to take a look at this. Are we as Black America? And I know it's a epidemic everywhere, but where do we stand with Black America? And then what can we do? And then give us the rest of us a chance to chime in also. Just speak to us from a clinical point of view.
For Black America really refuses to acknowledge the term mental health. So when we talk about mental health, they think I'm not crazy. I'm not that schizophrenic person talking to the girl. They think the drunk man at the corner. They have this vision, right? When they say mental health, that's what they visualize. They don't visualize the trauma of gunshots ringing in the neighborhood. You knew to duck and
Yeah.
cover. They don't visualize that you know the trauma of I don't have enough food, so I'm stealing from the register and trying to make do with my to feed my kids. Or they knew the person who robbed the grocery store because they need to feed their family. So all of these events, and I talk about it in Surviving the Chaos, I kind of break the stigma of what the word mental health means versus what it truly looks like in the Black community, because you have to break it down to the events that transpire in our lives, the arguments with your spouse, the fact that grandma pour hot oil, what's his head, pour hot bacon grits on pops because he was adulterous or having an affair. So all these things, these relationship problems, right? Relationship problems, all of that falls under mental health. But Black America doesn't recognize it as such. So when you have problems with communication, understanding, and relating to grandma, pops, your man, your boo, your woman, your kids, because see, they're quick to refer children for mental health services, right? Because the school system is looking, so they will blame the parent, right, that your child is acting up. But it starts with the modeling of the parent. If the parent has an anxious like behaviors, they're not dealing with their anxiety. If the parent has depression behaviors, the child is only mimicking what they see.
Yeah.
So you have to hold the mirror up. And that's what I do as professionals, help individuals hold that mirror up and address their individual issues. Because everyone's family trauma looks different.
Mm-hmm.
Molestation and rape happens much more than I care to believe and want to acknowledge. But
Mm.
there's women molesting their sons.
Mm.
There's women molesting boys and having oral and all kinds of stuff. And these boys became men. And then you want to know why they don't respect women. You want to know why they beat their women. You want to know why, because they don't. It's a silent myth in black society that boys aren't being molested by women. It's a silent myth. And then the girls who are molested, oh, it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens to all of us. And they try to normalize trauma. No, trauma's not normal. Pain is not normal. Surviving is not what it should be. You should not have to survive. Maya Angelou said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with passion, compassion, humor, and style." That's one of my favorite quotes by her. And I want you and others to live a life that you have the luxury, as my diva said, and you have the legacy of impacting knowledge to the generations that fall after you. And so my hope in Black America is that we stop, sit still long enough to look in the mirror, heal ourselves so that we can gift our future generations with the capacity to live a life with grace and enthusiasm and just really enjoy a quality life. Whether you're a poor man and you stay, our poor man's quality life is going to the park on Sundays and playing catch with the ball, or if you a rich one and you going to hang out at the latest greatest concert. No matter what your income level, you can thrive, and that's what's important. And so,
I have a
um,
quick question. Let me break in here real quick because you touched on some really vital points. And what made me think is that think about black folks. We don't want to address or we downplay trauma. It's not we normalize trauma. What do you say when we see it happening in the church? Because I know of a person who stood up and she was matter of factly speaking in the congregation that she was seeing a therapist. And someone asked me, "What do you think about her seeing a therapist?" And it was almost like, to me, hey, kudos. You're acknowledging what's going on. So, oh my goodness, time is going by so quick. Why is it such a taboo? Why do we have such a stigma when it comes to the black church and therapists when we
well,
all need it?
I mean, God created a therapist. Let me just tell you that
Yeah.
God gave us each gifts.
Mm.
The fivefold ministry, right? Apostles, teachers, evangelists. You know, I believe in it, and so God called me as a therapist to do apostolistic foundational support to anybody to help them figure out their vision, figure out, write the vision, make it plain. What's your gift? What's your calling? What are you called to do? You to impact generations with your job, your calling. So whether you're called to be a teacher at the school or a rocket scientist or an entrepreneur, because that's what we are, you're going to minister to people in your calling. You're not always called to be on the pulpit. Now, church hurt is real.
Yeah.
I stopped going to church for a few years because the pastor had told me no, I couldn't do nothing. And yes, I was having a tantrum, because I couldn't say that now, but I was having a temper tantrum at the time, didn't want to submit to authority, right? And I left the church thinking I need to do it my way. Now, truth be told, the pastor and I were wrong in some capacities, right? But he was not willing to teach me, and I was too stubborn to even ask the question because I didn't know what to ask at the time. So church hurt happens all the time, and and I happen to be a therapist trained with Christian support, so I have the prophetic deliverance ministry and pastoral counseling piece in addition to my license, so that we can have those frank conversations about how the church impacts how you feel and your thoughts. God knows our emotions are off the chain. He knew that when he created us.
Mm.
So therefore, but our emotions don't control our logic, because God wants us to logically think things through and submit to his will for our lives, right? So you have to be able to sort that out. And sometimes you can't sort that out with your family. And sometimes your friends are too close or too biased to help you sort that out. So that's where you have people like myself. And you can find people like myself on Psychology Today. Um, and
Is that a
you
website?
type it's a website, psychologytech.com, and you type in your zip code or you type in a name like mine, and you get the information on what that therapist's expertise is,
I
right?
just have one
Because
other question. What are you as therapists doing
you have
so
to find a
that
therapist culturally.
what are you all as therapists, as the profession, doing to help black folks understand it's okay to get the help?
So
Somehow
let
we've
me
got to
jump to,
get through.
okay, if you pay attention to commercials, there are commercials on television right now helping, and they're addressed to black folks,
Yes, they are.
particularly
Okay.
black men.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
okay to ask for help, and they
Yes.
approach it a different way. And we, again, it's back to the village is my thing. The village has to make it okay. Now, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I just had to
No,
interrupt
No,
and
no.
get
no,
that.
but you're
Hmm.
right. There are more social media marketing campaigns that are designed to talk to Black Americans. But the challenge is we don't have enough Black social workers or therapists or psychologists or marriage and family therapists, because those are the legal titles, that have to do therapy. And so if there's not enough people that look like me doing therapy, you need to be trained and have a black friend or have some black training with a black person so that you can become a more sensitive person to help African Americans. Because I'm gonna be honest, many of my therapists that I had in my life, I was their first black client.
Mm.
They were shocked at the stories that I shared about the gunshots and the friend committing suicide and the other friends being killed in a car. And I'm in junior high and I'm living through this, right? And I'm dealing with this in school. My classmate, I was sad. I was stricken. I was stricken in depression because my classmate friend in junior high killed himself with a gun that he found. And every person who knows someone personally who commits suicide is a greater risk of committing suicide themselves. So you get intrusive thoughts about killing yourself because, oh, such and such did it. So why don't you kill yourself? And you have to have someone to go to talk about these thoughts. They're fleeting. These emotions, they're fleeting. You can get help. You can't overcome, because suicide transfers the pain to your relatives,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
to the people close
And
to you,
friends.
and
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
The best thing when you have a suicide thought is get the help. Margo, I
Mm-hmm.
sent you the link for suicide awareness and the phone number so you can post. But
Okay.
211 in LA County, Department of Mental Health is right around the corner,
Okay.
right? If it's really deep, nearest emergency room or 911, you can get help.
Mm-hmm.
Today's problems are not the future. I remember you being put out on the streets, homeless at 16, sleeping in the car, drinking. 63 cents got you a free taco from Taco Bell at the time. So I would count 63 pennies because I was always looking on the ground trying to get 63 pennies. And then you pee in the cup at night because it's not safe to just go, everything's locked up. I remember going through that. Today, I can take care of myself. But then I thought life was over.
Yeah.
It does get
Well,
hard.
Well,
It
we have
does
just a
get hard.
few minutes left.
and I
Will you
want to
give?
say one thing. Can I
Yes, go
say,
ahead. Uh-huh.
poor Margo? Okay, when you were talking about suicide and all, I want people, particularly the women who are on here, if you're taking a medication, gabapentin, please stop. It has suicidal ideation with it. And everybody that I've talked to, people have taken it and had bad results. That medication
But
made me
I
think
will
out
add,
loud, huh?
I would
If
say I
if
would
I'm
add
going
there's
to
a lot
give,
of medications with that black box
well,
warning on it.
that one I know for a fact. It had me
Wow.
saying, if I'm gonna be in this much pain, I might as well be dead. And I went, where on earth did that thought come from? And as I've reached with other people, I found that people had problems with that same
Well, if
medication.
you're in the
So
spiritual
please,
community, we know we're attacked with demonic influence, and there's always spiritual warfare. So we have to constantly pray against that, right? But as a therapist in general, there's someone to help you. Just say something. Just like if you see something, say something. If
say
you
something.
haven't, you need to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm one person of the team of therapists that exists in the world that I can help you. Um, you know, there's private pay because people don't want the insurance always knowing your business, right?
Yeah.
Because they're worried about the record keeper. There's private pay therapists like myself available to you. If you're out of state from California, then we do it under coaching. So you get a clinically trained person as a coach. So there it's available to you. So I just don't want no one to go without help. That's the message I really would summarize because I know are getting close to our time.
Yeah.
But no one should go without help. Read my book, Talk to Information Diva. Margo's the expert on podcasting. Like we all are entrepreneurs. And when you have a business, please keep in mind, at minimum once a month, you need to have a therapist on standby. I have several CEOs that
Yeah.
I'm on their calendar for a touch
Real
twice a month
talk.
minimum.
Real
And guess
talk.
what? It helps them do better in business.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you just need a brain dump with a professional.
Somebody to watch your blind side, as I've heard, because we've all
Exactly.
got
Watch your
blind
six.
sides.
Watch your six.
Watch
Watch
your
your six,
six.
as the guys say.
LaLisa Morgan, I tell you, you are the one. I'm so glad that you could join us today because that's been weighing heavy on my heart. This thing of suicide, and I really appreciate it. Deb,
Our
I'm glad that you're
condolences
here
go out
today.
to Regina King and the
Oh,
Venus.
yes.
They lost relatives to suicide, right?
Yes.
It's real.
Yes.
Suicide
It's
affects the
very
rich
real.
and the poor.
Yeah.
It has
And
no
this,
color. It affects us all, but we want to get the help we need.
got you, got you. Deb, I know that you will have a project coming out, and then I want to read one last comment from Cherie. She gave us a wonderful comment about something that happened in her life. So we'll close out with that comment. But tell everybody about the book, what you're working on now. I think you have a new
Okay.
book coming out.
Yes, we have the fourth installment of Entrepreneurial Women of Faith, and you can go to entrepreneurialwomenoffaith.com and read about what we're doing if we accept women of all faith traditions. And the title of the book coming out is Faith Is, and you get to tell
Amen.
what faith is to you.
Got you, got you. See, we are always doing something. As women, we are always busy. We are always doing something. But Cherie Burrell, thank you for joining us today. And she says, I graduated at 17 and told my mother that by law I can stay until I was 18. She said, you have three choices: go to college, go to the military, or get a good job. Didn't we all hear that? Go to the military, get a good job. We have money. You don't. Wow. That was in the 70s. We did not give our children what we have: hard work.
And I told my youngest son that same statement.
It
But
sounds
it's
harsh, but it's
real.
true.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's
We
real.
have money. You don't. You know,
But
hey,
that worth ethic is so invaluable and will survive you well into, as your mama said, Deb, into her 90s, right? Until God calls you home, that work ethic will keep you covered.
yes, yes.
Absolutely.
And as black people, I'm sorry. I just don't see the day when I don't like the word, Deb doesn't use the word hustle. I definitely don't use the word grind. I don't think I don't want to grind out anything except some pepper. That's all I want to grind. Hey,
That's
you
real.
know,
Okay.
getting past any of the terminology, I think that as black people, we are going to have to keep something in our hip pocket. Our parents did. We are we are no less. We can't just lean back on what we made or what we are going to make because times are changing. Look at inflation right now. And the government, baby, do not think the government is going to bail you out on anything. We just
Section
have
8,
we got 1 minute left. What do y'all say about the government helping people out?
Section
Well,
8,
we
government
showed
assistance.
what you. Okay, yeah, and who did we have in the White House? Okay, we can't do that again. Okay, and it could happen very
Hmm.
easily. So, I just think I'm hoping that people will listen to what we said and just give it some thought and share the conversation with somebody else because
And you must
that's
have
how
a
we're going to
work
make a difference.
and you must have a work-life balance. Keep in mind your legacy and luxury, like Deb said, that's what's important. Define what that looks like and live
Yeah.
within your means. Don't go
Yes.
into debt trying to impress the neighbors. They don't
Or
care.
Okay.
They're not
or
gonna play for
even
your funeral.
and you gonna have one. Plus, real quick, because I get all these ideas as I hear you all speaking. Plus, we can't satisfy every whim that comes our way. Oh,
That's
I want to
real.
buy that St. John just because I want to. We can't satisfy all these whims. One final word. What do y'all say about that? And then we're gonna do the outro. We're out of here.
Okay, what did your mama tell you when you said you wanted something? Do you have the money? How you gonna pay for it? Okay, that is still real. And my daddy said there was a difference between being hungry and wanting to eat.
Oh
Okay, when
yes.
you don't want to eat what's in the kitchen, that means that you just want to eat. If you're hungry, you'll eat what's there. And we just have to live life like that. They taught us some really firm lessons, and we just kind of got away from them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my ex-husband used to say, "You can want in one hand and poop in the other. What hand will fill up the fastest?" It's evidently not the one hand. So you can want a lot of things, but if it's according to how your belief system is and it lines up, right? And you
Yeah.
work hard, again, you ain't gonna get nothing for free. If you work hard, you can achieve a lot. And
You
again, our
can.
work ethics as entrepreneurs, as podcasters, writers, authors, you got to put the work in. You can't
Yes,
get
you
a book.
do.
You don't get this with no work.
No.
There's
You have to
sleepless
be
nights.
committed.
Yeah, you
Yes.
have to balance.
Yes.
You got to get healthy sleep, but then there's going to be some sleepless nights to do things to work hard. So
That's
thank you
right.
so much for the invitation,
Oh
Margo.
yes, you.
It's been a
Hey,
pleasure, like always, to join you, Miss Information Diva Deb.
well, you're gonna have to
Absolutely.
come back. And Cherie says this was great, very informative. Thank you, ladies. And
Thank
she
you, Sheree.
says, as we say in Beverly Hills, we live here. We don't stop. We don't
Stop
shop
here.
here. We live here. We
We
don't
don't
shop here.
shop
I
here.
love that.
Hey,
And
I'm a couponer. I'm real talk. I already know.
honey, wait a minute.
Okay.
I love St. John knits, but you best believe I got the hookup on where to get them, and I'm not over there in Beverly Hills trying to get my St. John knits. You trust and believe. But oh, this has been good.
Thank
Next
you
month
so
we are
much.
back. Oh my goodness, I love this so much. Thank you, Cherie. Thank you for others that listened and the replays. We're back next month, International Women's Day, one day, but we're taking the whole month, and so we'll be back that last Sunday of the month. And everybody just take care and just do the doggone thing, okay?
Yes.
So
Sounds good.
let me get this outro here. And ladies, if you can hang on just 1 minute, I'd like to kind of have a little bit of dessert with the guests. Okay.
Amen.
Bye bye,
Dessert.
everybody. And hit us up in the
Bye.
replay. We want comments. Okay. Bye bye.